Welcome to Crafty Kids Crate, where you get to be cool and be crafty and hang out with me in the chassis. My name's Kiki, and I'm here to tell you that there is no wrong way to create art. Each and every one of you are creative artists. We are going to have some fun learning and exploring and creating things from nature. It's going to be amazing, and I can't wait to get started. So let's go ahead and start the project. This project is called the SeasonTree. So we are going to have so much fun learning about the importance of trees while we create our own artistic representation of a tree. One of the things that's really cool about Crafty Kids Crate is that you get to go on a nature walk and actually find some things in nature that you're going to incorporate into your art project. So for your SeasonTree, I want you to go outside with an adult and you're going to gather some branches similar to this. I want you to get different sizes and different lengths, but they don't need to be too long. And we're going to also gather some leaves. So when you're outside, observe the sky, observe the color of the leaves, what color the ground is, and the bark on the tree. And, remember all the things that you learned in your learning videos about trees and how they grow. So go on your nature walk, and I'll see you back here shortly. All right, now let's go ahead and open up the box. This is the exciting moment where you're going to see the materials you're going to use to make your project. So let's see what we have here. All right. We've got a bag that's labeled number 1. A bag that has the number 2 on it. We have a craft roll. And it looks like a little base with a dowel on top of it. And then we also have a little wooden box. So very cool. So what I want you to do first is go ahead and grab bag number 1. So open up bag number 1 and you'll see, oh my gosh, you've got coffee. What are we going to do with that? A few paper towels. Those are the only 2 things you're going to need right away. So before we get started, go to your Crafty Crate and grab your plastic covering to cover your workspace. So here's my plastic covering. I'm going to go ahead and cover my little table here. So we're going to start with the coffee. So go into your kitchen and have an adult help you get a glass that we can put hot water in. And you're going to get your ruler out of your Crafty Crate and you're going to fill the cup with about a 1/4 inch of water. So just about that much. Not quite a full inch, okay? Open up your coffee. Now this is a fun technique on staining paper. So you might need to use your scissors from your craft box or have an adult help you open this. So you're going to open the coffee, pour it into your cup of warm water, and then stir it up here. Okay, that looks good. And it doesn't need to be totally dissolved. So the chunks are going to be good. It's going to help us with what we're trying to accomplish. Okay, so you have your 2 paper towels and your coffee mixture here. So basically you're going to use your spoon and you're just going to kind of just dab it on here like this. So see how it's changing the color? Now again, make sure you've got your plastic covering down here so we don't make a huge mess, okay? So you're just going to kind of dab, 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 spot this out. Now what's cool is that this part, this is going to become part of the tree trunk. So we're going to let this dry. And it's okay to get a few chunks here. Okay, cool. All right. We're going to let these paper towels dry probably overnight. So set them aside in a safe place where they can just dry. And then once they're dry, tune back in for the step number 2. Step number 2 for creating your tree trunk is to grab the dried coffee-stained paper towels and your craft roll out of your kit. We're going to also get, from our Crafty Crate, we need to get the clear Elmer's glue, the palette, paint palette, and a paintbrush. We're going to create some texture on this to make it look like a tree trunk. So I want you to go ahead and start tearing pieces of your paper towel. And these are going to be the texture that we're going to make the tree trunk out of. So go ahead and tear up some of your pieces. And we'll continue doing this throughout the process. When you're ready to get started, you're going to take your glue and put, I don't know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 counts into your palette. So you have your palette with the glue here. And then, as you can see, we've got our glue in the palette and the pieces of paper towel that we're tearing up here. We're just basically going to put this on here, and you know what? Just have fun with it. You want it to be textured, so you're just kind of painting it on here with the glue. And it can be a very fun, relaxing process. And it doesn't have to be perfect. All I'm doing is holding these by my finger, and then once you get the glue on, it starts sticking to itself. Okay, so you're going to continue this process all around and up and down your tree trunk. So go ahead and continue that, and I'll see you back here for the next step. So as you continue to go, you can do a little bit larger pieces in areas and replenish your glue when you're starting to get short. So we can always add more glue in here. And it's starting to look really cool and textured here, like a tree trunk. All right, so we're finished decorating our tree trunk and giving it some texture. Look how cool it looks. Now I suggest taking your little dowel and base and drying this. Just set this in here and let it dry and put it aside somewhere safe so it just can dry on its own. So set this aside and we'll let it dry. Now what I'd like you to do is go ahead and rinse out your brush and your palette so it doesn't get too sticky. And we want to keep our brush clean so it doesn't get ruined and we can keep using it. All right, I'll see you back here in just a minute for the next step. Okay, I'm back from my nature walk and I have quite a few little branches here. We're going to set those aside for now and we're going to actually focus on the leaves that you found. So I'm sure that you have different leaves. They might not look exactly like this. And in your kit, in bag number 2, there's actually a wooden leaf that we're going to use to create the leaves for our artistic seasonal tree. So go ahead to bag number 2 and check it out in here. You're going to see a little wooden cutout. You're going to bring this out. And you're also going to see some different green colored tissue paper. So go ahead and grab that out as well. And then you can set the rest of the things in the bag aside for now. So now it's time to make the leaves for the tree. So what we're going to do is we're going to grab the wooden cutout from your kit, and then we're going to actually reuse and repurpose, recycle this bag that was in the kit with some other materials. So you're going to get that, and then you're also going to get a pencil. So what we're going to do is actually just line this up on the bag here, and we're going to trace around the leaf. So we're going to probably do this 1, 2, 3, 4, probably 5 times. So go ahead and do that. So, okay, this is where we're going to trace around your wooden leaf cutout. So you're going to take your pencil, hold this down in the middle here, and just trace around here. Now again, it doesn't have to be totally perfect. We're just trying to get the shape here of the leaf so we can cut it out. Okay, so we have the pattern down. We're going to go ahead and cut this out. Now some of you might need a little bit of help cutting, and that's okay. Just ask an adult if they can help you. And what's really fun is when we're done with this, you'll see that you actually did 2 in 1, which is perfect for time. Okay, so here we have 2 of our leaves cut out. So those are looking pretty cool so far. So what I want you to do is take these 2 leaves and you're going to glue them together. So take your clear glue again. And we're going to glue these together. And again, they don't have to perfectly line up because all the leaves are so different. So just put this on here. And then you're going to actually go into your number 2 bag. And you're going to find this really cool wiring. This is going to be part of the stem for the leaf. So we're going to measure out about 2 inches there and then cut this. Now you might need an adult to help you cut this, but you can use your scissors and just cut it. Kind of bend it around the scissors and then cut it. But first I want to get this sticking to our leaf here. So we're going to actually put, again, some more of this glue on here. Put a good amount on there. And then you're going to take your little green wiring and place it on there and then set this aside to dry. All right, so you have one of your leaves pretty much halfway there. You're going to take this and set it aside to dry, and then you're going to repeat this process of cutting out the paper bag and then gluing on the stem. You're going to repeat that 5 or 6 times. So we're going to make 5 or 6 of these. So I'll see you back here after you're done making your paper leaf. All right, here's a quick tip. If you want to cut more than 1 at a time, you can actually take your pattern and then just fold this over on the bag so you have a double and then cut 2 at a time. Okay, so when you're using these little green wires, make sure you're careful because they can poke you on the ends. Now you want to make sure on your paper leaf that you put enough glue on so that this can kind of just sit in there and then it will dry. And it's okay if you get a little glue on your fingers. You can always wipe it off. It's fine. So just okay, so as you can see, I cut out 7 different leaves and we're going to let them lay flat and dry so that the stems stick to the paper. The next step is going to be to use the green tissue paper, and we're going to actually trace the same pattern with our wooden leaf, and we're going to cut out different colors of dark and light green paper. So let's get started with that. Now what's cool is that we can actually get some different shades of green here. So tissue paper is pretty easy to cut. So we're going to, again, trace around it. You don't need a really sharp pen because tissue paper does tear easily. So just trace around here carefully. So what's cool is we'll be able to actually get some different tones and textures with these colors, mixing these colors together. So you've got it drawn out on here. Now we're just going to use our scissors and cut. Now remember, if you need help cutting, don't hesitate to ask an adult. Now we're going to be cutting a few different layers here, which will be awesome. We've got quite a few. At least 1, 2, 3, 6 layers. Perfect. So we can spread these out. Okay, now you're going to repeat the process and trace around the wooden cutout leaf on the dark green paper, and I'll see you back here in just a minute. Now that our tissue paper leaf cutouts are finished, let's go ahead and set those aside. We're going to continue to let the paper leaves dry with the stems before we do anything with the tissue paper. So next I want you to go ahead and grab the wooden box out of your SeasonTree kit. So next I want you to grab this box out of your craft kit, and we're going to do a technique called decoupage using tissue paper and glue to decorate the outside of this box. So go ahead and get your paintbrush, your paint palette, and your clear Elmer's glue out of your craft crate. So again, we're going to just put some of this glue into the paint palette. And this is really fun because basically we're using this tissue paper, and we're just going to tear, again, kind of tear some different pieces of it. It can be different sizes, and really we're just kind of worried about covering. So you rip the tissue paper and then you just use, again, paint on the glue here, and it's going to make it, give it a little bit of cool texture on the box. And again, we're just worried about getting the top here and the sides. So we'll go ahead and do that and keep repeating the process. So I'm going to do a combination of light green and dark green, because this is kind of representative of the summer season, right? So things are green, the leaves are green, the grass is green. So yeah, just keep painting this on here and see how it's giving it that really cool color and texture. So you're going to continue this all the way around the box, and then I'll see you back here in a minute, okay? All right, I'm putting the final piece on the base of our cool decoupage technique. And as you can see, we've got the whole thing covered, and it is a little sticky, but that's okay because you can just wash the glue right off your hands. So now we're going to set this aside to dry and move on to the next step. We're going to take the green tissue paper and line it up as much as we can here. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because it'll add to the texture of the leaf. What I want you to do is paint the glue, the clear glue, onto the paper, and then we're going to stick this to it, okay? So we'll take our paintbrush and the glue in the palette and just paint it on here. Get a pretty good amount on there. Then you're going to take your tissue paper to the glue and stick it on here. Here's a quick tip for making your leaves. When you're doing the tissue paper, just focus on one side first, let that dry, and then you'll turn them around and do the other side. And you'll want to kind of grab the leaf by its little stem here to work with it so it doesn't get too sticky. All right, see you back here in a minute. And we're going to do the same thing to the other side of the leaf. Paint the glue onto the paper. And again, take another piece of the tissue paper leaf and stick it on here. Now that is looking pretty cool. Lots of fun textures and color in there. It looks like a really cool leaf. So we're going to repeat that process and use some of the dark tissue paper as well as the light tissue paper. So Continue doing that to your other leaves, and I'll see you back here in just a minute. All right, these leaves are looking really cool. And as you can see, there's a lot of texture to them and different colors that are shining through. They look pretty realistic to me. Okay, the leaves are complete. We're gonna go ahead and set them aside and let them dry. Now let's go ahead and rinse out our paintbrush and our palette again so we can keep using our paintbrush and it doesn't get too sticky. I'll see you back here in a minute for the next step. We are on to one of the final steps of creating our artistic seasonal tree. So let's go ahead and clean up our mess here. And we have some extra tissue paper. You might want to hang on to that for a future project. So we'll just fold this up nicely here. And you can go ahead and put this back in your craft crate. Same thing with the glue, your pencil, and your ruler, and your scissors. We won't need those anymore, so put those back in your crate. We are on to the exciting part of actually building our tree. So let's go ahead and grab our base that you made some really cool decoupage on. We're gonna grab that. We're gonna go ahead and get the tree trunk that you remember we did with the coffee stained paper towels. Next, we're gonna grab the base. So first thing we're gonna do is actually put some wood glue on here and then center it into your box. So get your wood glue out of your Crafty Crate. So we're putting the glue right on the end here. And again, you might need a little help because the glue can be a little tough to squeeze sometimes. Okay, so we've got a pretty good amount there. Now we're gonna go ahead and take the base that we decoupaged the color on, and we're gonna put this pretty much right in the middle. So just like that. All right, so now you have the dowel and the base glued to this actual wooden box. So we're gonna set this aside and let it dry for about 30 minutes before our next step. I'll see you back here soon. As you can see, we have the base and the dowel sticking to our box. So let's go ahead and do step 2 of building our artistic seasonal tree. So if you open up bag number 1, you've got all these different rocks, and then you also have this other paper wrapped wiring. So all right, let's continue building our tree. So take your amazing tree trunk that you made out of the coffee stained paper towels. You're gonna place this on top of the base here. And then to create more stability, we're actually going to hold this and we're just gonna drop these rocks in here. So it's basically giving it some weight so that it kind of helps hold the branches in when you add the branches. You want to make sure that your trunk is actually lined up with the round base here. So make sure that that is lined up and then you add the rocks to the top. So we'll continue adding these rocks. And it starts to make it heavy so that it feels really sturdy now. So the next thing we're going to do is actually, this is a paper wrapped wire again, but we're going to use this to represent the roots of the tree. Because remember, we've got the roots, trunk, branches, and leaves. Those are the major parts of the tree. So all we're going to do with this is just kind of a representational thing for us to remember that each tree has roots. So basically, we're just going to kind of put this around. And this is kind of a fun little wrapping thing. So this is what we call an artistic representation. So we're just gonna kind of let this go around it. Again, you might need an adult to help you. But we're gonna remember that these But it's going to help us remember that this tree, our artistic tree, has its own root system as well, just like every other living tree. So we're going to have this down here, and then you're going to go ahead and open up bag number 2 and get the remaining materials out of bag number 2. So this has some really cool moss. As well as some really nice black rocks. So as we're building our tree, we're actually going to use these rocks. We're going to use these black rocks to represent the dirt that covers the root system. We're just going to put these black rocks in here. And again, kind of weigh everything down. And then your little root system becomes hidden, just like it is by the dirt when it's growing from its seed originally. Okay, so this is what your base is looking like. Now we've got your root system there, these rocks to represent the dirt. And now it's time to add your branches that you found on your nature walk. So what I like to do is take some of my favorite ones first. So I like this one because it has a lot of different texture to it. Then you're just kind of sticking these in around your base here. And again, if you feel like you want to get some other branches or maybe some different sizes, you can always go grab more to add to this. So be careful with all these branches. Make sure that you're protecting your eyes and your face. You don't want to get scratched by them. All right, your tree is looking so cool right now. So we're going to finish it with some artistic touches, which include the moss. So we're going to actually put this moss around the base to represent the green grass. And then it's time to hang our leaves. So what's really cool about the wiring we put in these leaves is that it bends over. So you just want to bend it over like that and then check it out. You can hang it from your branches. So again, this is an artistic representation of a tree. So we're just going to kind of spread out these leaves in different areas. So again, be just a little careful when you're using the wires because they can be a little pokey on the ends. All right, my artist friends, we have successfully completed the artistic season tree for summertime. If you want to continue adding leaves to this, or maybe put a pet squirrel or a pet bird or something in your branches, go ahead and do so. This is your artistic creation. Now keep in mind, we're going to actually reuse this tree and branches and the base that we created for different seasons. So keep an eye out for art kits that will help you change this out to represent fall, winter, and spring. So I hope you had a great time being creative with me. I know I had an awesome time being creative with you. And remember the parts of the trees. So roots, trunk, branches, leaves. Those are the parts of the trees. And you got to learn some really cool art techniques on things that you can do in other art projects in the future. So until next time, be cool, be crafty, and I'll see you soon back here in the chassis. Remember, there's never a wrong way to do art, and each and every one of you are artists, and you are creative. See you next time.